As an esports player, if I was to go pro, and even in the non-pro scene, just playing in casual, not casual, but not pro level tournaments and playing in lower level tournaments, diamond up and below actually, you face a lot of stress. It is a stressful situation, especially as tank, because tank is usually the leader, and it's very easy to put yourself in the category of everything is falling on your shoulders if you're not leading your team correctly, if you're not doing what you need to do, if you're not being the leading driving factor of this team winning, then you're the leading driving factor of why this team is losing. So we need to look into the psychology of playing and everything about it. So let me just swap this over. So we've got two sources here. The first that we want to look at is psychology or career guide, and then psychology of being a leader. As a tank player, leadership tends to fall on my shoulders. How do I deal with the pressure and be a good leader? Um, so be a role model. Do the same things you expect those who follow you to do. Attending scrims on time, making call outs, being positive, um, encouraging friendly behavior. Listen and communicate, be clear. um, Hear people out when they're saying something. I'd say this, in Overwatch terms, this could be as simple as if there's something on your backline, turn around and kill it. Hear your support side. If your supports are saying that they're struggling a lot and they need more help, then you offer either advice or you offer physically turning around and supporting them. And communication, making call outs, telling people who to shoot, what ults to use, what ults they're gonna have, how to position. Encouraging new ideas and creative thinking, allowing for solutions to problems. Um, maybe a clever rotation or a sneaky ultimate or something. Just being creative and trying to get people into the, like, if you're being held at first on King's Row through that choke, maybe encouraging. Well, then we go through hotel and drop out on right side and then rotate through high ground. Um, Using leadership skills at all opportunities, being vocal, being loud, always trying to push to be the leading voice and threat to the enemy, and being present to all your teammates. Have a positive attitude. It encourages others to follow suit. Um, Even if you think you're going to lose, you have to sound positive. You have to be willing to take the chance that, you know, I'm going to be positive and think that we're going to win this, even if I might face a bit of disappointment when we don't. Follow your instincts. Be confident in your judgment. Always being confident. No stuttering. No second guessing yourself. You say you're going to do something, you go do it, and you follow your instinct and you trust yourself that you're going to make the right play. You see a Cassidy out of position, you don't think twice about it, you dive on him. Be the driving force behind your team. Be motivational. Something bad happens, you say, it's okay, we go next. I'm sorry, I messed up. Always being motivational, always trying to just get people to carry on, keep on playing. Understanding people and their feelings and supporting them creates a more open bond and allows them to feel safe. This will be more scrim slash team focused, specifically, whereas some of the others can be put into comp categories too. Um, but understanding people, being open, allowing people to feel safe talking to you and being comfortable having a chat with you. Being passionate, make it obvious you care about the project. Have a bit of emotion. If you talk dead and you absolutely have no emotion in your voice like I'm having right now, nobody is going to care. You need to have some oomph behind you. You need to have a little bit of drive, a little bit of push. You need to be able to get people understanding that you care about it just as much as they care about it. Knowing how to manage uncertainty and making calculated risks to get the best outcome. This could be the same as creative thinking for solutions. Sometimes you're not sure what the best play is, but you have to make a choice. Overwatch is a fast-paced game, and you've only got about 15 seconds to make the decision on how the fight's going to happen. So sometimes you just have to make a call. Be confident, make sure that you do the right thing, and it's okay to take a risk sometimes. Stuff happens, you learn from it, and just keep on being positive. Encourage feedback and input from your team. Make their input, no matter how big or small, feel appreciated. If somebody makes a suggestion, like maybe a hero swap or an alt plan or anything, you need to encourage stuff like this because you want your team to feel safe and willing to listen to you. You need them to do that. Experiment with different techniques. Make notes on mistakes and triumphs and improve on them. Evolve. Get better. Be willing to improve. Always able to adapt. This one maybe just focuses more on the real world. I mean, yeah, that one maybe focuses more on the real world, but I think to some extent we can have that. Maybe this is more of like an individual play thing, or maybe this is you talk to your teammate a certain way one time, and then you realize you shouldn't have done that because they didn't like that. Don't do it again. This all comes from Career Guide, so it is psychology of a leadership in the real world, not in the gaming industry, but I think to a certain extent all of this still applies, and I can think of scenarios where it would. Um, then next, I want to just look at this. Not this. That's not necessary. This. So, scrim environments and league game environments can be stressful. They shouldn't necessarily be stressful scrim environments anyway, but scrimmage is great. Win or lose. Absolutely, scrimmage is very intensive type of practice. Good environment without stakes. It helps you staying in the right mindset and often gives you access to other perspectives. So scrimming gives me an opportunity to see into other perspectives in a way, so I can help understand and be a leader in that sense. Um, but also, it is without stakes was the point that I was going to say. But it is also intensive, and sometimes losing in a scrim can be very tough. As a player, it is on me then to just take that on the chin. That's where we practice, that's where we learn. If a scrim doesn't go our way, we move on. It's fine. We keep on going at all times. But this source is Anzalotti. It's dealing with stress in sports, or teens dealing with stress in sports. Sports highlighted there. How to deal with pressure and stress. With so much on the line for me personally, it can be fairly stressful. How would I manage the pressure? Obviously, I want to go pro. That is my dream goal. I have a lot to do, not as much time as I'd like to do it. The average pro makes it into the league at about 18, and although it's possible to make it there later, there is a certain amount of age factor. Most league players, most OWL players retire on the age of 20, so not making it into the league at 18 would essentially mean that my chances just begin to dwindle and the time that I can spend in the league begins to dwindle. And it's not impossible, but there's still a lot of pressure there. Um, how to deal with stress in sport. Deep breaths. Hold for 5 seconds and let out slowly. Everybody knows deep breaths. Calms the heart rate down. Simple stuff. Muscle relaxation. Tense a group of muscles for 5 seconds. Release. Repeat 5 times. Then move on to another muscle group. That may be more sport specific because when you're in a stressful situation, your muscles do tend to start twitching, and because the blood's pumping so hard. Um, so maybe that is specifically like a muscle relaxation thing. Um, Imagine a happy, stressless place. Everybody's heard of that. That doesn't necessarily work when you're confronted with having to play at that moment. Visualize success. Imagining that this is gonna lead me to somewhere. Imagining that all the effort that I put in now takes me to where I want to be, takes me to being in LA, training with a team, playing in the Overwatch League. That's what you have to do. Mindfulness, focus on the present and not worrying about the past or future. I guess these two kind of contradict each other. I guess if I visualize success, I'm not worrying about it. I'm more just happy about it. But still, having a routine. This is where also this kind of ties into the weekly plan of if I'm up at 7, if I've got 4 days of training every single week, these things will keep my stress levels down. Being organized and managed and compact is helpful. No matter who you talk to, they'll probably tell you having a routine of some sort is definitely good. Waking up in the morning, going for a run, coming home, having a shower, making yourself breakfast, moisturizing, washing your face, shaving, doing everything in the morning and then getting on with your work is always good. Not being too packed for me was the biggest thing though. I used to do this where it was get up in the morning, go to school, stay after school, go to the gym, have dinner, practice, bed. There was no free time. So it is important to factor in free time as well into that routine. It's actually the way forward. Um, Thinking positively and positive self-talk. I've gotten where I am. In season 25, which was about 2 years ago, I was the lowest rank in the entire game. Through over 2 years, actually, of hard work and dedication, I'm now in, I think, the top 10% of Overwatch players. That's impressive. I should think positively about that. I should positively self-talk about myself. That is insanely impressive for somebody to do. To be able to climb almost every single rank in the game. I've only got one more rank to reach, and then I've officially been in every rank if you don't count top 500. That is insanely, insanely impressive. Eat well and get enough sleep. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack at some point if needed. 7 to 8 hours of sleep. We've already factored these things in. How to know how much you're eating? My preferred method is just eat when you're hungry. And that seems to do the trick for me. Do something fun, relaxing, cooking, exercise, etc. Um, Cooking, I really like doing that, and that factors into eating well too. Exercise, I do jiu-jitsu. I've got a morning routine where I work out. Not that I've been sticking to it. Um, it's good. Forgive your mistakes, move on, and improve. A good example of this actually would be the league game I had yesterday. We were 2-0 down. We almost reverse swept. The last two maps, I made insane amounts of mistakes that actually caused the loss. I was very, very devastated. I had practice, I had scrim about an hour and 20 minutes later, and it's so tough to be able to pull yourself out of that mental state of you are the reason you have just lost this game. This game would have been won if it wasn't your fault, if it wasn't for you. If there was a better player in your place, you'd have won that game. We went into scrim. We absolutely dominated them, and I just improved on the things that I'd done earlier, and in comp games, and I've made mistakes. I've lost a lot of league games. I've won a lot of league games. I've been under pressure. I've won championships. I mean, very low level championships, but it's happened. Um, it's really, really important to just be able to forgive yourself, move on, and improve. If you can't improve, then you're not going to get anywhere, and it's just important to forgive yourself. Mindset, mindset, mindset. It's the first thing. If you're going into a practice session with an awful mindset, don't bother practicing. Take the day off. If you're going to burn yourself out, don't bother practicing. Take the day off. If you seriously cannot find the willpower to see something positively, then you are no longer doing any sort of good. You're just either doing harm or doing nothing. And if you're doing nothing, then it's probably going to end up being harmful as well because you're just burning yourself out further, which will lead to negative practice, which will lead to deranking, which will lead to further spiraling. Take time off, take the day off, relax, come back to it the day after. Mindset is so important. which is why the psychology is important. Um, but yeah, that is the psychological aspect of being the leader and being the tank and being a player and having stress, and I don't feel it. You can feel it in individual comp games and stuff, but deep breaths, you be a leader. I feel like I might have burnt myself. You just have to be positive at all times. It's just the way it is.